Hi everybody, this is Brian Koo with another ROK video. Sometimes in war, you have a feel for the thing. It's a finger in the wind, a scent in the air. You know something with a certainty without actually knowing it. And that was the case with this 2306 city left on the front lines after we had burned down their flag. Partly it was the enemy cities and enemy marches that came out to fight us, even though there was nothing to fight over. Partly it was the empty flag they extinguished with very little health remaining that we immediately noticed and immediately set afire again. This kingdom was working hard to save this city. And so this city had to be offline. This was never going to be a trap. And so our rally leader, Soup, launched the rally as soon as the flag was destroyed. We mobilized people to get online quickly. We said it would be a big zero. The rally struggled to fill at the beginning, and I told Soup, rather foolishly, to cancel if the rally did not reach 2.4 million. Still to this day, after years of Crystal Tech, and knowing that a Charles Martel YSG Garrison is far out of date, I'm still way too conservative about the kind of damage we might take on a city rally. But we were going for this one. I set the marker, 0 target. Soup's first rally was about to launch. And we were in the field, pushing back the enemy, making it so that they could not swarm this rally, and we did not have to fight underneath this YSG AoE. You could see in the rally that the Nevsky-Joan is very quickly melting this Charles Martel. I didn't jump in the rally myself, only because I had already taken enough deads this KvK and was not keen to take any more. But once I saw how quickly that thing melted, I did have certain regrets about missing out on some of the kill points. Rui's hospital had already filled up, and so even on that first hit, we gave him 380,000 deads, while only taking 60k on our side. The next rally started immediately. Another Nevsky-Joan from a Korean player who we haven't given a name to yet. He's a consistent top 10 contributor every Lost Kingdom now for the past few. I guess we could call him Hangman because the first character of his 2-character name looks like the Hangman game. And Hangman is a pretty savage name anyway, in my opinion. So the Hangman had his rally set. And, you can see that this player was important to 2306, which is a predominantly Japanese kingdom. And in this player, you had a core fighter with over 1 billion KP who is dedicated enough to teleport to the actual front line of the conflict. Those players are valuable. Those players do not get recruited every day. Such players are not even online in sufficient numbers at various portions of a war. These key active fighters who do what needs to be done, who take part in the important fights, And you can see the fervor with which his or her kingdom were defending them. And you can see the savagery with which we were pushing back that effort. On the bottom of the screen, you can see the Charles Martel garrison. The rally is hitting once again. My marches are focused to the north, focused on not letting any red marches come to the aid of their dying friend. It was another big hit in this second rally by the Hangman. Over 500k dead for Rui. 8 million kill points distributed to the rally on our side. And Soup immediately launched another rally. At this point, the rallies were having no trouble filling up. This was looking juicy. And as we were getting ready to finish off this kill, I'm thinking to myself, hey, I've got a really good video here. And so I zoom out to give everyone the lay of the land. And if you look, you can see the animation of a teleport on the screen. And when I zoom back in, it's the target city itself that was that teleport. Rui had acted so quickly that the little assist horsies were just walking to an empty void. And so, that's a bummer. It always hurts when you've got a big fish on the line and it slips off the hook when it's already over halfway to your boat. But we are deep sea fishermen here in 770. And this is the life of a big game hunter. Sometimes the prey gets away. So we were tilted at this point. And 2306's blood was boiling. And so the fight went on. At this point, emotions got to both sides. We really weren't fighting over much. At this point, the Lost Kingdom had been decided. Our team was going to win. We had already invaded this zone we're in right now. We had taken one of the enemy's 2 entrances into Kingsland. And we were, the flagging that we're doing here in this video is us slowly progressing towards their last remaining entrance into Kingsland. And as this fight was happening, leadership on both sides were working out a peace agreement that would allow our kingdom and our allies 1077 to have the peaceful 1-versus-1 battle in Kingsland that we had planned all along. 2 of the camps had already agreed to peace, but 2306 and their closest ally, 2402, were still holdouts. And so we were applying pressure to their forces in hopes that that would speed up a peace agreement. And they were fighting to show what they still had left. And what would happen as this night went on is that more and more 2306 players would teleport to this area. On some level, they may have suspected that this was their last big fight in the KvK. We were more hesitant to take this fight because we had an even bigger fight remaining with 1077 for who would eventually win the Ziggurat and the majority of the Autok rewards. So we were getting people to teleport in, but it wasn't... we didn't have the same level of priority to this fight as 2306 did. And it was prime time in Japan. I think it was about 9 p.m. at this point. and they teleported in a lot of people, and we had a very big fight over a couple of hours. We let them build a couple of flags that gave them teleport space on the front line, and it was only when they tried to connect to our territory that we launched rallies to stop that from happening. What would ultimately occur is that 2306 would sign a peace deal with us, then all this fighting that's happening now would stop for a little while. We both sort of just stood on our sides and flashed emojis at each other. And then less than an hour later, they would cancel that peace agreement. The fighting resumed for a brief time, but then it got late in Japan. We free-burned their flags for about 12 hours, getting all the way to their forts that were at the King's Land entrance. And then they agreed to a peace deal once again. And so it's always interesting in Rise of Kingdoms, where even in a lost kingdom like this, even in a war like this, where we felt all along the way that we had things in control, there was a sense of control to this KvK that one rarely feels. And yet, even with all that control we thought we had, you still have these wild-card third parties that have their own interests in mind and do their own thing. And that is one of the fun things about war in this game. And these impromptu clashes are another one of the very fun things. So I hope you enjoyed the video, even though we didn't get the big 0 on Rui. At least we, knocked him for 900k. And at least 2306 got to show us who they were shortly before waving the white flag. So more to come from the Warriors Unbound Pioneer event. More fighting, more interesting little interesting things that happen when we get to King's Land. So stay tuned. Like the video if you've made it this far and enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you all on the flip side.